I have stolen princesses back from sleeping burrow kings. I burnt down the Tower of Traben. I have spent the night with Felurian and left with both my sanity and my life. I was expelled from the university at a younger age than most people are allowed in. I tread paths by moonlight that others fear to speak of during day. I have talked to gods, loved women, and written songs that make the minstrels weep. My name is Quote. You may have heard of me. The Name of the Wind is one of the greatest pieces of literature that I have ever had the pleasure of reading. It utilizes its phenomenal lyrical prose to an extent that the world and happenings of it seem to come alive around you. The story is one of hurt and loss, with which we all sympathize and understand. The world itself is shown to be flawed just as much as our own is. But despite all of this, we can't help amaze ourselves at the wonder that's hidden deep within the text. Within the very world. A world we experience through the eyes of Kvothe, the book's protagonist. A flawed individual that is talked of as a legend and is said to have brought upon the darkness that now haunts the four corners of the world. But we, as the audience, are completely unaware of what he's done. In fact, we're dying to know. We want to find out. And thus our host Kvothe willingly obliges by retelling his story to the chronicler. A story of adventure, curiosity, foolhardiness, most importantly, a keen sense of humor, and just how far that took him in the world. I would recommend this book to any person that loves or even reads fantasy. It's almost certainly the right book for you if you do. In fact, I'd recommend it to many others, because while stories, especially works of fiction, tend to be scoffed at when taking into account their practicality, I would say that anyone has something they can get out of this book. Be it a simple good read, a pleasant time, a life lesson perhaps. Whatever be it, you'll find it. I assure you it's there. And by the end, as you're already reaching for the second book, I think you'll find there was a lot more than a single thing you got out of it. Alas, even this masterpiece is not for everyone. And if you are one of the few souls that sees this video and begins reading it, only to find out it's not to your liking, then I am sorry and humbly apologize. Hopefully, you'll deign to leave a comment informing me of what made you leave or wasn't to your liking. Perhaps I can reassure you it's a one-off thing. Perhaps it isn't. I pray you at least try. Now, a final disclaimer to those of you that might want to read this book. The Name of the Wind is the first in a series of 3 books, the first 2 of which have already been published. The Problem, or the black sheep of the family, is the third, The Doors of Stone, a book that the author, Patrick Rothfuss, has had some trouble with writing or releasing for the past decade and almost a half. It's a dispiriting situation, I know. But, be it foolishly, I have an unquenchable belief in my mind that tells me he will one day release it. In fact, I have no doubt out of all of his fans, he's the one that wants to get this book out to the public the most. What I can say with confidence is that even despite all of this, the first 2 books are wonderful reads, and they will most likely stick with you for your entire life. Hopefully, that's enough to convince you to at least try. If you're the kind of person that likes to talk about books as they read them, then I've recently come across a community that's thinking of starting a read-along of the entire series in September of this year. I'll leave the link to it in the description for those interested, and leave it at that. Hopefully, you'll enjoy the Kingkiller Chronicles.